Hello dear students, welcome to English class. In this video, we will study about active and passive voice. The voice of the verb is the quality of the verb that indicates whether its subject acts or is acted upon. In English, there are two voices. They are active and passive voice. Actually, they are ways of showing relationship between the doer and the receiver of the action. Now, let us study about active and passive voice. Let us find out the difference between active and passive voice. In a sentence, when the subject is the doer of the action, then that sentence is said to be in active voice. When in a sentence, the subject is the receiver of the action, then that sentence is said to be in passive voice. So dear students, just remember this. In a sentence, when the subject is a doer of the action, it is active. When the subject is a receiver of the action, it is passive. Now let us check the examples given there. The first sentence given there is in active voice. Tina broke the window pane. Here, Tina is the subject and Tina is the doer of an action. Tina is doing something. She is doing an action. She broke the window pane, isn't it? So Tina is the subject, and in this sentence, subject is the doer of the action, or subject is doing the action. So it is an active voice. The second sentence, the window pane was broken by Tina. Here, the window pane is the subject, but window pane is not doing the action. The action is done by Tina itself. So here the window pane is the subject and the subject window pane is the receiver of the action done by Tina. So here in this sentence, the subject is the receiver of the action. So the sentence is in passive voice. Now let us check some more examples to understand the difference between active and passive voice. Let us look at the first set of examples given here. There are two sentences. The first sentence is, Priya submitted the assignment. It is an active voice. Second sentence is, the assignment was submitted by Priya. That is a passive voice. Both the sentences, the meaning is similar. The meaning is same, but the structure is different. In the first sentence, Priya submitted the assignment. Here, Priya is the doer of the action. Priya is doing the action. And Priya is the subject of the sentence, isn't it? So the subject is doing the action, or subject is the doer of the action. So since the subject is the doer of the action, the sentence is an active voice. The next sentence, the assignment was submitted by Priya. Here, the assignment is the subject and the assignment, the subject, is a receiver of the action done by Priya. So, in second sentence, the subject is a receiver of the action. So, it is a passive voice. Now, the second set of example. Rohan painted the fence. It is an active voice. The fence was painted by Rohan. It is a passive voice. Here, the first sentence, Rohan painted the fence. Here, Rohan is the subject. And here, Rohan is doing the action. Rohan is painting, isn't it? So, Rohan is doing the action. Subject is the doer of the action. Since in the first sentence, the subject is the doer of the action, it is an active voice. The second sentence, the fence was painted by Rohan. Here, the fence is the subject of the sentence. And the action is done by Rohan. And the subject is the receiver of the action. The fence is the subject and the subject is the receiver of the action. So, since the subject of the sentence is the receiver of the action, the sentence is in passive voice. Now, we will study the rules to form sentences in active and passive voice. First, we will study how to form a simple present tense sentence in active and passive voice. Simple present tense. The rule to form a sentence in active voice is subject plus do or does plus V1, that is base form of the verb, plus object. Example is given there. He writes a poem. Here he is the subject. Does plus V1 form of the verb. That means does plus write will give you writes. And the object is a poem. Next, she cooks the food. Here she is the subject. Does plus V1, that is base form of the verb cook, will give you cooks. She cooks the food. The food is the object. Now, how you will change this active voice into passive voice? The rule is given there. Subject plus is or am or are plus V3 plus by agent. So let us take the first sentence, first example. In active voice, the sentence was, he writes a poem. And now when you change it into passive voice, the object will become the subject. So the subject here is a poem. A poem plus is, am or are. Here we can use is. A poem is written. Here V3 means past participle form of the verb. Write past participle is written. Plus by agent. By whom? Who is doing the action? That is by agent. By him. The next sentence, in active voice, the sentence was like this. She cooks the food. The food is the object. So when you change it into passive voice, the object will become the subject. So the food is the subject here, is cooked. Cooked is the past participle or V3 form of the verb cook. And plus by agent, that is by her. So you will get the sentence like this. The food is cooked by her. Next, we will study how to form a present continuous tense sentence in active and passive voice. The rule is given there. Active voice, the rule is subject plus is or am or are plus ing form of the verb plus object. The examples, let us take the examples. He is writing a poem. Here he is the subject plus is plus ing form of the verb. Here writing is the ing form of the verb write plus object, a poem. It is the object here. Next example, she is cooking the food. Here she is the subject plus is plus ing form of the verb cook is cooking. The food is the object. Now, how will you change all these things into passive voice? The rule is given there. Subject plus is, am, are plus being plus V3, that is past participle form, plus by agent. That is the rule. Let us look how to change these sentences into passive voice. The first sentence was, he is writing a poem. So first of all, you have to write the subject. So what will be the subject in passive voice? A poem, that is the subject. Plus is plus being plus V3 form of write is written. Past participle form of write is written. Plus by agent, that is by him. A poem is being written by him. Next sentence. She is cooking the food. That is in active voice. You have to change it into passive voice. So the food is the object there. So in passive voice, the object will become the subject. Then the subject here is the food. The food is being cooked. Here cooked is a past participle form of the verb cook. By her, it is by agent. Next, we will study how to form a present perfect tense sentence in active voice and passive voice. Present perfect tense. The active voice and passive voice, the rules are given there. Active voice, rule is subject plus has or have plus V3, that is past participle form of the verb, plus object. Examples, he has written a poem. Here he is the subject plus has plus written. Written is a V3 form of write plus object, a poem. Next, she has cooked the food. She is the subject plus has plus cooked. Cooked is a V3 form of the verb cook plus object, the food. Now how we will change it into passive voice? The rule is given there. Subject plus has or have plus been plus V3 plus by agent. Examples. The first sentence was he has written a poem. How will you change it into passive voice now? A poem. A poem is the subject here, isn't it? A poem has been written. Written is a V3 form plus by agent, that is by him. Second sentence was she has cooked the food. Now when you change it into passive voice, the sentence will be like this. The food has been cooked by her. Next, we will study how to form a simple past tense sentence in active and passive voice. Active voice, the rule is subject plus V2. V2 means past form of the verb plus object. Examples, he wrote a poem. He is the subject. Wrote is a past tense of write. Wrote is a V2 form of write plus object. Object is a poem. She cooked the food. She is the subject. Cooked is a past tense or V2 form of the verb cook plus object, the food. Now how will you change it into passive voice? The rule is given there. Subject plus was or were plus V3, that is past participle form of the verb plus by agent. The first sentence was he wrote a poem. So a poem is a object there. Now when you change it into passive voice, it will become the subject. So we will start with a poem. A poem plus was. Because a poem is a singular word or singular subject, so we are using was here. If it was a plural subject, then we will use were. So here we will use was. A poem was written. Written is a past participle form of write plus by agent, by him. Next sentence, the food was cooked by her. The food is a subject plus was. Cooked is a V3 form of cook plus by agent, that is by her. Next is past continuous tense. How to form a sentence in active and passive voice? The rules are given there. Active voice, subject plus was or were plus ing form of the verb plus object. Let us take the examples. He was writing a poem. He is a subject plus was plus writing, ing form of the verb write plus object, that is a poem. She was cooking the food. She is a subject. Was plus cooking, ing form of the verb cook plus the object, the food. Now how will you change these sentences into passive voice? The rule is given there. Subject plus was or were plus being plus V3 plus by agent. A poem is a subject here. Was being written. Written is a V3 form plus by agent, by him. The next sentence, the food will become the subject here. Was being cooked. Cooked is a V3 form plus the by agent, by her. Next is past perfect tense. The active voice rule is subject plus had plus V3 plus object. Examples, he had written a poem. Here he is a subject plus had plus written. Written is a V3 form or past participle form of write plus object. A poem is the object here. Next, she has cooked the food. Here she is the subject. Had plus cooked. Cooked is a V3 or past participle form of the verb cook plus object, that is plus the food. Next, how will you change it into passive voice? The rule is subject plus had plus been plus V3 plus by agent. Here in passive voice, the subject is a poem plus had plus been plus written. Written is a V3 form plus by agent, that is by him. Next, the subject is the food. The food plus had plus been plus cooked. Cooked is a V3 form of cook plus by agent, that is by her. Next, we are going to study how to form a simple future tense sentence in active and passive voice. Simple future tense, active voice, the rule is subject plus will or shall plus V1, that is base form of the verb plus object. The examples are given there. He will write a poem. He is the subject plus will plus write. Write is a base form of the verb, V1 form of the verb plus object, a poem. She will cook the food. She is the subject plus will plus cook. Cook is a V1 form, that is base form of the verb plus the object, that is the food. How will you change it into passive voice, all these sentences? The rule is given there. Subject plus will or shall plus be plus V3 plus by agent. Here, when you change the sentences into passive voice, the object will become the subject. So the first sentence, the object was a poem. In the passive voice, that object will become the subject. So we will start with a poem. A poem plus will plus be plus V3 form of write is written plus by agent, that is by him. Next, the food is a subject plus will plus be plus V3 form of cook is cooked plus by agent, that is by her. Next, future perfect tense. Active voice, the rule is subject plus will or shall plus have plus V3 plus object. Let us take the examples. He will have written a poem. Here he is a subject plus will plus have plus V3 form of the verb write is written plus object, a poem. Next sentence, she will have cooked the food. Here she is the subject plus will plus have plus V3 of cook is cooked plus the object, the food. Now, how will you change all these things into passive voice? The rule is given there. She plus will or shall plus have plus been plus V3 plus by agent. So, when you change he will have written a poem to passive voice, the object of that sentence will become the subject in the passive voice. So, we will start with a poem. A poem plus will plus have plus been plus written. Written is a V3 or the past participle form of write plus by agent, by him. Next sentence, the food will have been cooked. Cooked is a V3 form of cook plus by agent, by her. So dear students, in this video we studied about active and passive voice. We studied the rules to form sentences in active and passive voice. So what is active and what is passive voice? When in a sentence, when the subject is the doer of the action, it is said to be in active voice. When the subject is the receiver of the action, then that sentence is said to be in passive voice. Remember that. So I hope you all understood that. Dear students, thank you for watching.